Good time zone, everyone. Welcome. We're going to draft Dominaria here today. It's Monday. I had a great weekend. It wasn't like, it was just this is one of those productive adulting weekends where I just crushed it every day and got a lot of stuff on the to-do list, so I feel mighty right now. I did not feel mighty at Dominaria, though, I got to tell you. I played some offline drafts, and they didn't go well. Not all, some of them are fine, but they didn't all go well. Some of it was just variance, but what I was noticing, which I'll get into in the drafts, is that I was leaning heavily towards my Sultai favorites, which is okay, except I have to understand that Sultai only works to punish aggro if you get the tools to punish aggro. So it's important to make sure you've got the early removal. Like I had some Sultai that just didn't have a lot of interaction, and if you're low interaction Sultai, you're in trouble because you can get run over and you may not be able to solve the important threats from Oppo. If you want to solve all of your physical paper magic needs, though, you're going to go to cardkingdom.com, and you can do so through the panels down in my affiliate link down below there. Or if you're a YouTube viewer, you can check out my notes on the video. There's always a link to Card Kingdom there. And if you go there, you're going to find one of the premier locations to get your physical magic stuff on the internet. And they're going to get it to you quickly. You're going to get exactly what you expect. You're going to get a fair price. And if you need to convert some of your existing inventory to cash or credit, they're basically second to none. I do a lot of buying and selling of cards, and so this is the kind of thing I track heavily, and I can say without reservation that in my experience, Card Kingdom wins on buy prices more than any other buyer out there. So please keep that in mind if you're looking to sell your cards too. And of course, if you're going to do any of that, do it by getting to that site through my affiliate link, and you really help out my stream like they do. Thank you, Card Kingdom. Appreciate your support. All right, we're going to jump into a Dominaria draft. We have the 5K gold, so it's pure gem time, pushing our primary free-to-play account up towards 30K in gems. Maybe we'll have 30K before we start Theros. That'd be cool. Dominaria is one of my favorite formats, though. I'm a Sultai leaning drafter here. I'll talk you through how I approach that, but I'm not married. I say lean, not force. Lean, not force. I like red blue wizards as well. I almost never ever play Boros. I just feel it is too weak to what I consider to be the best decks of the format. But we also need to make sure that we are prepared for those types of decks to show them why they're the weaker decks in the format. And if I don't get the tools to handle aggro, if I'm not seeing it, I may need to not be Sultai, but anyway, let's take a look at what our first pack is. Well, and there's a temptation, huh? This is wonderful, actually. So we've got the best white card in the format in my least favorite color, and one of the best uncommon legends in the format in two of my three favorite colors. Sultai is black, green, blue. Blue, black, green, I suppose, in color pie order. So it would be it would be quite a statement, but you could literally take Slimefoot here over Lyra, and I wouldn't call you crazy. But I think we have to take Lyra. I really don't like being white in the format, but Lyra is a hard lady to pass. Also, we have 2 of 4 Lyras. We could craft some gems, but I'll say this: we're not going to, since this is our. So the current philosophy of our main free-to-play account is that we don't craft wild cards to turn wild cards into gems, because that's for limited only accounts, and we don't consider this a limited only account. We're actually trying to collection build on this account as well. So if this were, for example, our free-to-play 2 account where we don't care about constructed at all, I would go ahead and cash in some wild cards to convert into gems, but we're just going to take Lyra. We won't go convert to gems either. We'll just actually save our wild cards for the Theros. We like to stay standard ready as much as possible here. Oh yeah, Deadly. If I take Slimefoot, Slimefoot's a great build around. But you don't even have to build around Slimefoot. Slimefoot can also be a late game engine, as long as you have the air taken care of. Slimefoot looks silly if you're being beaten down in the air, but if you have the air taken care of, Slimefoot kind of takes over. We have another rare to consider, Torgar. This would be a reasonable pickup if we had taken Slimefoot. If you go turn 2, make 2 Saproling tokens, there's a common that does that. You can get Torgar down pretty early. But Torgar is just whatever. I actually think Dark Bargain is the most important black card in this pack. If you do end up Sultai, like I like to be, the keys to a good Sultai deck are card draw, removal, and then inevitability, either in the form of an incredible late game threat or some graveyard recursion, something you can do at the end of the game to outvalue your opponent. Oh, Cardboard Live, I had to restart. No, Cardboard Live's not on, sorry. And this is a good one to have it on for, right? Oil Can, because not everybody knows these cards, so I know you're going to want to zoom in on them. Hopefully that fixed it for you, or give yourself a refresh, see if that does it. Looks like it's working for me now. Anyway, sorry, taking it slow in this draft because I know people are some people are coming to this format for the first time here, and I want to really talk it through because I really do prefer the Sultai form, the Sultai decks, and I want to talk about what's important in them. You can get all sorts of win conditions like Academy Drake or whatever, but Dark Bargain, card draw, and removal are where it's at if you're end up in Sultai. We could just do that here. If I am going to be heavy white, I do like to pair it with black or blue for that card draw. I just think card draw is so important in this format that's really what makes red-white so weak to me, is that it can never really draw cards. So yeah, I'm kind of naturally answering Scott's question. What pairs best with white, even though you think it's the worst color? I think it's probably black. And Funky says it's too early for Dark Bargain, but what do you want instead? You're welcome, Smash. Thank you for this sub. I appreciate that. I mean, you could talk me off of Dark Bargain, but for what? You want to take a Torgar? Like, I don't think Torgar is very good. Drake is fine. Yeah, it's either Bargain or Drake, though, right? I don't even think it's Sentry. We could take Sentry and cut white, actually. With bots, that really matters, especially because the bots actually like white. So, didn't really talk about that, but if we want to try playing Lyra, and she's quite amazing, we probably should. Also, the other reason to pair black with white with something like Lyra is that you get the Raise Dead effects that you can get Lyra back with. So I'm going to do a full pivot and actually just take Aven Sentry, cutting a little bit of white here, and you might be compelled to take Tiana. I really don't want to be Boros. I'd rather take Skittering Surveyor here and keep our second color open rather than take Tiana. I just don't think Tiana's that good. I mean, she is an angel. There is that. I mean, I sometimes forget that Lyra is an angel lord because it rarely matters, but it just doesn't. That line of text just barely matters. Like if you have a Lyra going, it's great. But yeah, Surveyor allows us to the one thing, here's the thing that would make this set perfect, and I hope that for limited, not perfect, but would make it even better, is if they had in the basic land slot the tap duels at a distribution that mirrors the M20 plan. You know how M20, it's not like every pack had a tap duel. It's some of them did. I wish some packs had a tap duel in them. Then this set would be through the roof. But as it is, because it doesn't, stuff like Skittering Surveyor is so important. Green has some good fixing in Grow from the Ashes, but nothing else really does. So if you want to splash in a non-green color, you need these Surveyors. Grun is solid. I'm not tending to, I don't like to be white green. Looks like white is being drafted upstream, which is not great. We may need to it's possible we end up bailing on white. If we did, I think Grun and Gitu Chronicler are the strong, you know. Say I never heard of ya, a rap burglar. So I've talked about how I end up in red, blue wizards sometimes. The other time I end up in red in this format is when it's going to be one of a grindier control color for me. You can do Jund, you can do red-green Kicker, for example, and if you're in a go big red deck, the Gitu Chronicler is amazing. One of the things, there's an uncommon that's like a 3-mana deal 3 type burn spell, but if you kick it for 9 total mana, it deals 10 to anything, divided as you choose or whatever. Like, it's insane. So a huge play for red in this format is to get that that card and use it as removal, just 1-for-1 removal early, and then get it back late with Chronicler, and then have it deal 10. You know, it's just crazy. So anyway, I just want to take an aside. Since I know some viewers on YouTube are trying to figure out this format, I do want to call out what I consider to be some linchpin cards in each colors, especially at common, and talk about why I think they're important, so that even if we don't end up in red here, at least you have an understanding of what the role of like a Chronicler is in this format. As for what we're going to do, I like Grun or Spider. We'll take Grun. Grun is interesting. You can combo it with certain, like if you put the Flight enchantment on it, it gets nutty. There's some things you can do with Grun, but you need to get it evasive somehow to really go crazy with it. But we'll start with, we'll see where Grun takes us. Yeah, here's what we're talking about. Arcane Flight on Grun is pretty funny. Packs have been largely actually pretty bad here. Lyra was a bomby opener, but the packs have been pretty weak since. Are we so white that I should take an Honor Guard here? This is where I just like, picking white cards makes me so sad in the format, but nothing else here is good. We could take Blood Tallow Candle is grudgingly playable removal, and Arcane Flight would be, I guess we don't really need it in here. It's good on green stuff and in certain on that blue flyer. We don't need it here. I guess we'll take Honor Guard and gag a little bit and wonder where the white cards are. Like, I'm really certainly, I think we'll get the white hookup going the other way in pack 2, but I'm not liking this so far. We're gonna take Soul Salvage here, though. This is what I was talking about. I know we haven't really seen much black yet, but Salvage is splashable even because you only want it late. You want it. This is a very late game card. I have splashed many a Soul Salvage in Dominaria draft, so we're going to take Soul Salvage, and it doesn't even mean we have a splash supporter, and so Soul Salvage plus Skittering Surveyor could be a thing without us even being in black. And what a miserable draft so far. These packs have just been very empty. But hopefully we'll get hooked up in the packs after this. Untapping an artifact. I doubt this is going to matter. But like Invoke the Divine. Like, what are we taking here? Nothing. Corrosive Ooze. These are all just cards I really don't want to be playing. There's a lot of things that could allow us to go Boros, but I'm as much as I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to force Sultai. But I am trying to force not Boros. I really personally do not have any success with Boros. I feel like I peter out, get things in the wrong order, or just if I run into any kind of deck that's set up to deal with the initial rush, you're just done for. I'm going to take Voltaic Servant because it has various combo potentials in the set, not because it's particularly good. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate the sub there, Buckeye. Adamant Will is a reasonable combat trick. We have another opportunity of Flame of Keld. The trouble with the Flame is that you want to cast this when your hand is empty, and that's a reasonable thing to set up in Constructed, but in Limited, it's just quite difficult, and Adamant Will is an on-color acceptable trick, so we're going to take Will. I kind of dislike where I'm at here. Not loving the heavy white nature of our deck, but it's where we're at, so we're going to run with it. Take another Soul Salvage here. Let's maybe get some grindy white-black going. Impulse or Arcane Flight. I'll take the Impulse. We have at least one green card, and Impulse looking for powerful cards like Lyra, or in some cases Grun, is not the worst. I don't want to play anything here. I basically just never run this card. I think I'm more likely to run Charge. I'm never running Wand either. We're too far away from Wizards. I'm only running Sorcerer's Wand in Wizard deck, and we are not a Wizard deck. So I'm going to let that be and take Charge. But I don't think we're playing any of that. Divest, as I've said, is I find completely playable. It's not great. Do not worry yet about white in what way. In what way am I worrying about it inappropriately, Deadly? Well, we have a Skittering Surveyor, so we'll take... If we end up low on playables, we might run something like an Elephant, which I would run a little more happily than a Sentinel. So, take this. I find it just too bad, Madman App. In this format, 4-drop beaters are just in a weird place. I don't even like the Baloth that much. The kicker, the 2GG 4/4 with 3 kicker to make it a 7/7. Even that to me is like just okay. Yeah, I might hate draft the Wand there, but I'm not worried too much about the Wand. Verdant Force, another Slimefoot opportunity, new slimy opportunity. I don't think we're getting there on the Verdant Force plan with the way that this deck is breaking. We could literally be anything here. We could take Cloud Reader Sphinx. Sanctum Spirit is fine, but not great. I think Triumph of Gerard is a trap. And I don't ever take it. I think it's actually Slimefoot. Slimefoot even fits a little bit with what we're doing so far, and we have the Surveyor. And if we end up base green, we could go green, white, splash black. Get rid of the Divest, splash a couple Soul Salvages and a Slimefoot. That wouldn't be bad. When the packs give you Lyra, you do what you must. These cards in general are a trap. Of course, I lost to the red one this weekend, but it's very hard to get to consistently have the legend out to even cast these, much less have them be good. I guess a grudging Mesa Unicorn. I'm continuing to gag here. The packs have not been good for us. It's solid, Scott, but maybe I'm just gagging because I keep taking these white cards that I don't like. But we'll try and make it work. Got a Memorial to Glory. You can just take some free spells in land form. We could take... Not sure if we have... none of those, so it's not really a... We just rare draft here, though. Opportunity cost is pretty low. Now we'll take Memorial and wheel another Adamant if we want it. I'd probably wheel both is the thing, which is why I was just eyeing the rare. But doesn't really matter too much with this set. Okay, Pegasus Courser is a pretty key card for white. Glad we're picking up one of those. Wouldn't mind wheeling this Witch, but I think Courser is more important here, even though our key stuff flies already. Courser, if we do end up green-white, Courser plus Grun is fun. I really don't want to be mono. There's no real reward for being mono in the format other than hyper-tight mana. So Trapper's okay, not great though. Trapper's aggro, right? You want to be, because it's doing its thing when you're casting spells, so your turn basically. So therefore it's an aggro card, and I just don't think this format lends itself. Even here, I'm not trying to be aggro. I mean, you need early stuff to keep from getting run over, but we're trying to be more of a Lyra, Slimefoot, Grun kind of late game deck here. So Pegasus Courser is good for aggro, good for late game, just a better all-around tool. All All right, we can take some saps, another Mesa Unicorn. Surprised we're not getting a major white hookup in this pack. We really cut it in pack 1, so I'm a little disappointed that we're not getting just all-star white cards. Although, you know, to be honest, Pegasus Courser kind of qualifies. Migration or Spider, I think, yeah, we got only really Lyra going on at 5. What does Migration do for us? Adds, we're not really doing a go wide thing or even a Sapperling thing. Well, we have Pegasus, Avon, and Lyra up in the air on our own. So we have some flying defense as it is. We also have, you know, we're only under halfway through the draft. If we end up White Weenie, well, I'll show you. My power pole would be low. I just don't think White Weenie is very good in the format, but sometimes it wins. I've lost to it. You know, I lose to aggro all the time in the format. People play it, and sometimes it works. It just doesn't work very consistently in my experience. But let's go Spider here over second Unicorn. Blessed Light is, okay, so Blessed Light 6th is the kind of payoff I was hoping for in pack 2 from how hard we cut white in pack 1. Well, we do have 1 charge, right? We can, you know, we can keep that in mind. Yeah, I guess we might have to go aggro because we got these combat tricks and 2 drops and stuff. So I guess 2 drops backed up by combat tricks is what we are doing here. It's not where I want to be, let me tell you. But we can try and make it work. Sometimes it'll work. Yeah, there's another charge. Are we playing 2? I think I just probably just want more 2-drop dudes. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna take Benalish. Oh my god, please don't put me in a deck where I'm running Dub. I don't want to run Dub. Dub is for other people, not me. This is like, for me, how not to draft the format by Ryan Spain. But maybe it'll work. Memorial to Folly gets a Lyra back, but we'll just take Reproach. Baird is weirdly positioned in this format, and I don't like him. But I guess, what else are we taking? We could take a Memorial to Unity. Are we even? Yeah, maybe we are mono at this point. Like, I don't think you're trying to be mono in this form. I don't think we're playing Divest though. We're definitely skewing aggro now. So I guess I should lean into that. And that means, I guess, taking Baird. We don't have any other 4s going on either. Double wheel. If we want to get dub, we'll get it on the way back. I'll take Baird. And it'll just be a murderer's row of the cards I'm unimpressed by in the format as I try to win with them. Dub. Windgrace. I actually might want Windgrace here. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Windgrace and actually lean a little bit more towards the black. Probably just not playing any green and any early black. And we're going to try and do some 5+, you know, a 12-5 split maybe. Take a Windgrace here. Don't know if we want this elephant in the end. Phantom, is it okay? Well, let's see. This is another one I don't really like. I'd rather have the Windgrace. Although we might wheel this even. I'm going to take Windgrace. If we wheel it, fine, but I don't need to prioritize that. Jousting Lance on... you know, Unicorn or Honor Guard could be okay. I don't like Sarah Disciple. We could rare draft for rares, but no, I'll take a Jousting Lance. Scott says, aren't things like Soul Salvage against things that are aggro? Yeah, it can be. We don't necessarily need to play both, but I'm just not cutting them yet. We may be mono white even, but one of the things about aggro like this is that if you get something that can happen is you get in your early damage, you get them low, but you can't quite finish them off. And in that case, you know, getting back your Pegasus Courser, your Aven Sentry, your Lyra, your Windgrace, those are getting evasive threats back late is the type of thing that can close out a game that your weenie strategy has started, you know? I'm going to take Sanctum Spirit here. I don't care that Sarah Disciple is a 2-drop. It's not what I'm like. I think it's bad. Even though we may do some things to trigger it here and there, a flying 1/1 for 2 is not what I'm doing. No, Sarah Disciple is practically one of those cards that when it comes down, I feel like I have to win or quit Magic. It's not that unplayable, but I think people just jam it into quote aggro white decks like it's good, and it's not. One power flyers for 1 aren't that good, much less 2. And yeah, it's 2 power sometimes. And when does first strike matter in the air as a 1/1? You know, it just rarely matters. So I'm going to take Sanctum Spirit here, though. Another Unicorn over a Soul Salvage. Take Lich's Mastery and just completely switch gears and try and get life gain in the handful of picks remaining. No, we're going to take Mesa Unicorn and try and make this weirdish aggro thing aggro-ish thing we're doing. Invoke the Divine for defense against artifacts and enchantments, or a Blood Towel Candle, which now, you know, where is it? Does something for us. We've got Sanctum Spirit, can discard it. Yeah. I think I'm going to take 1 Invoke. I think we'll play an Invoke. And we don't have much interaction, so not... No, our interaction is very... I'm going to take Dub, because this may just be a Dub type deck. This may just be, we're all in. You know I don't like auras. You know, I think I'm basically going to be playing the type of deck that I suggest that others ought to be able to beat. I don't know if we're playing any of the black yet. Actually, thinking probably not. Legendaries, we have just Baird that cares about this. We're not going to play that. All right, we'll take this. Maybe not Kerjak, but I don't think the other one really was either. Another Excavation Elephant. I don't think we're going to play the first one. Well, I hate it. I hate it a lot, but we're going to go mono, and I think we should just go mono. This is a pile, but what was I supposed to do? Man, I think what I was supposed to do is just take if I had taken that first pick Slimefoot, we'd be so much better off. Yeah, we might have to play black. This is a lot of low impact spells. I was just taking a look at what mono white looked like. Historic, we have 1, 2 if we play them, 3 if we play that, 4, 5 historic cards. That's not really doing it for me in terms of like trying to justify a board. Thank you, 30-pound knight. Thank you for being part of my amazing chat. Which Acolyte are we talking about? Oh, Winggrace, yeah. Yeah, all right, let's pull it back in. I was checking it without, but I would actually rather, you know, ditch that. Even ditch an elephant. I'm gonna say done and come back in. Digging 5 is no joke, but if you think 5 divided by 40 is 8, you're gonna want 8 targets to feel like on average you're gonna hit one, and we had 5, so I just did. That's just the math of it. Do we want a phantom historic? Again, we have 5 historic spells, now 4 because we cut one. Well, Skin Witch isn't really a splash is the thing. If we run the Skin Witch, we have to commit to more swamps, whereas if we keep the Skin Witch out and just run these 4, we can really keep it to like 4 swamps even and be fine. Maybe even 4 or 5. Yeah, 12-5. You may be digging out of 30, Silo, but presumably out of the 10 cards you drew, you've found 25% of your historic cards, and they're already in your hand. So you're still on average, no matter when you're looking, right? No matter when you're looking at 1 and 5. Okay, so with this configuration, we're at 13-12. We could cut the Invoke as being whatever. We can cut one of the wills, probably, or the charge. We're not even really going wide, so the charge is less important to me. I'd rather just have 3 wills than 2 wills and a charge. And we have Memorial to Glory, which you could argue is a charge combo, but it's not that important of one. Well, Mabinap, it's all about the Thank you for the sub. We're trying to be aggro, and Skin Witch is a little weird. I mean, you can call it a curve topper in aggro, but it's not really good as a 2-drop in aggro. And especially, but if we played this, we're looking at 7 swamps. Like if we play this, we have to run 7 swamps minimum. I think we cut this, we can go down to 4 swamps, and then our mana is super solid. That's what makes it appeal to me. Also, this is somewhat of a control-y effect that I'm less interested in when I am the aggro player. Although there's something to be said again for I dump my hand, have an aggro start, and then I clear out your final couple cards that might have been your stabilization plays. That's totally legit, but the cost here. Like let's say the kicker cost on Caligo were just 4 colorless, then I'd be in. We'd totally be playing Skin Witch, but I don't think it's worth it to up our swamp count just for it. Well, I was trying to be grindy, but now I'm like, look, I'm running freaking dubs. Maybe I should cut a dub and put something else that doesn't just hurt my heart back in. Like, but I think we're just in on it. Like, whatever. I'm going to run this, and then we're going to show you why it's not that great. Or we'll show you why it's swingy, right? I'm sure there's going to be sometimes we're going to drop a dub. They're not going to be able to answer it, and it's going to look like an all-star. And there's other times we're going to drop a dub. They're going to answer it and 2-for-1 us, right? So that's why I don't like this, but it's where we ended up, so we're going to do it. And hopefully Lyra will carry us to victories. Yes, Razor makes a great point. If you think a deck is bad, that can be a reason to increase your variance. And that, which is, are you suggesting, are you just observing that, Razor, or are you specifically making an argument that we should play the Skin Witch because we're increasing variance, you know, because the deck is bad, so we're going to go ahead and increase variance. We could also, We could run the Phantom or even the Abomination. Abomination plus Jousting Lance is pretty funny. Like maybe we'll give ourselves a little bit of a higher top end and cut down on like a dub or an adamant will. I'm going to cut down on dubs. They just are that risky. I'll risk one, but man, and this is powerful on a unicorn or whatever, but you're going so high risk to do that. I'm going to do this. Well, let's say this, Robert. If we do win, I'm very down on this deck. If we have success with it, let's look at why it's being successful, okay? And ask ourselves whether that's something we can expect to happen consistently or whether we're getting lucky. You know what I mean? That's a good point. We don't need the Skittles, but it's still a 2-for-1. You know, getting land is still nice. It really does. Maybe that lets us, Skittles lets us go to 4 swamps, I think, which is worthwhile. So let's do that. 10, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm gonna call it not like this. This is not how I recommend drafting the format, but this is where we ended up. Sometimes, but let it be known, let it be seen that I am not so married to Sultai in the format that I can't end up in white when pushed there by a card like Lyra. What cards were we hoping for after we pulled Lyra? That's a great question, Smock. We wanted, we would have liked to have seen the uncommon white removal spell. A little more, there's some decent white removal that we didn't see. More Pegasus Coursers. But really what we wanted to see was an obvious, strong first color. Honestly, you know, that's what I was really hoped for, was a strong sign and clear direction to hit an obvious primary color where white could be our secondary color. Yeah, Teferi, if we're going to be Banana Jack, sure, why not? I mean, you're asking. Raph is okay, yeah, but that's the fact that I'm having trouble coming up with what I would want. It was like late Blessed Lights, which we got one of. Anyway. Well, now that I've talked it down, let's see what you all par pull it at. I'll get started though. Here, I'm even going to include one in this one. There we go. Here you go. You get the whole, almost the whole spread. For those of you not familiar with par pulls, sure. Sure. Should have been mono. We're ditch the Abomination. That's pretty far away. All right, this Honor Guard is going to have to get there with some Adamant Wills. It's a mirror match. Oh, and also, I bet my stuff is all wrong. It's all wrong. Well, mostly not. It's actually mostly correct. There you go. Now it's correct. I would par this at 2.5 because that's like as low as I can bring. You know, well, Lyra might get us there. I'll par it at 3. Lyra is very powerful, and we have ways to get her back and stuff. So, like, we just have a strong chance to come up with some wins off of Lyra. Now, here's the problem. So we've got the combat tricks, right? But they're going to untap and have 4 open mana, and there are instants that could just absolutely blow us out for for having a combat trick. So I am going to go ahead and attack with the Honor Guard. They may just take it. Yeah, they're taking it and going for the fine, we'll race, and I understand that. I just wasn't willing to risk playing Adamant Will into this open mana against this attack. So given that I was not going to be willing to block, I may as well attack. And also, I'm really hoping Baird comes down next turn. We find a land, play Baird, and then hold this stuff off. Okay, found the land, have the Baird. We'll go ahead and send in the Honor Guard. They could remove Baird and then hit us for a pretty big attack, but it wouldn't like kill us or anything. And then we have a lifelinker with Adamant Will behind and Soul Salvage to save it if that happens. So yeah, they may have an Adamant Will of their own. If they attack directly into this, we're gonna be patient. This can be a big problem, obviously. 6/6 flyer, but we have like one removal spell we're trying to find that can take care of it. So we need to go digging for that. Oh, did I miss a point? What was my what point did I miss? Oh, playing this after. Yeah, good call. I forget. I play white so little I forgot about the Benalish getting the pump. Anyway, they didn't attack us though, so that's good. Probably means they don't have an Adamant Will. We have another Honor Guard. We'll drop that and have Adamant Will up. We could also just go Sanctum Spirit. Maybe Sanctum Spirit's fine here since they didn't attack. Yeah, we'll do that. I could have swung with Baird, but they just have so many chumps, and I didn't want to offer them the trade. I guess with Adamant Will, I should. Yikes. Well, Pegasus Courser plus Sanctum Spirit plus Adamant Wills could get it done. That means I think we need to go Pegasus Courser here. And we can attack with Baird. I'll attack with Baird first this time, yes. If they want to do something ridiculous, we have double Adamant Will, so pretty safe. Could even send Sanctum Spirit and dare them. Just have to be willing to use our Adamant Wills here. If they choose to block, are we willing to do that? That's what I'm thinking about Mabnap. I can send the Sanctum Spirit if we're fine with using the Wills now, and I guess we are, so yeah, I'll send both of those. Heck, we could even send this, like, at worst it trades with the Rat Colony, and that's fine. We're gonna drop Courser on D, and I want something back. We'll have Baird and Courser on D, maybe? Yeah, I'll send it all. With Baird, I'll send it all. Well, we are going to... That's why we have to use Adamant Will. We have to be ready to use our Adamant Will silo. And if we're willing to make that trade, we could. Although we may need to try and trade it for here. Yeah, I think I want to try and save the Adamant Wills because we may need them for this demon token. So let's hold... Of course, we also had, you know, right now, 2 Adamant Wills isn't enough on Pegasus Courser to take out a 6/6. But we may find another flyer that plus Adamant Wills does. We could salvage Baird back, but we want to get double value out of that. Let's go with Courser. Man, if we go Courser and they block Courser, we can get it back. So I'm going to go for it and hope they go for the Sanctum Spirit block. We'll see if they do. And if they block the Courser here, then we will get the Courser back. Well, if we had played the Skin Witch, we would have also increased our swamp count for what that's worth. All right, so they are doing that. We have to let that happen, and we'll go with Soul Salvage, play Banalish Hero. They have some good attacks next turn, but we're at 17, so we can take it. For now. For now, that is. Also, let's see, we got to keep in mind their Memorial. They can't get Demon back with Memorial if we can get rid of, get rid of it somehow, though. Yeah, we'll trade one of these ground dudes off. I don't want to trade both, but we'll trade one off here. Why? Answer why, Ryan. Well, I don't want to be... We do have Adamant Wills, so later on we can actually increase an Honor Guard to 4/4 on the ground if we think it's necessary. That's a big backbreaking play. We kind of need to find our Lyra now. Lyra, where are you? I traded with the higher toughness thing. This toughness never gets bigger, so it's the easiest to continue killing. Funny, we found our Blessed Light, which is kind of exactly what we needed, but we found it right when there's a Serra Angel. Good news, though, Pegasus Courser plus multiple Adamant Wills does take out a Serra Angel, so we can at least Blessed Light the Demon. So our plan now, let's see, do we have enough time? If we go, we Blessed Light, get attack down to 5. We Pegasus Courser and get attack down to 1, possibly 0. Yeah, we might need to attack for lifelink, and if they block... I guess we just have to get the lifelink. Well, you say block with lifelink, they might not attack on the ground. I think we need to send the lifelinker, and we also have the backup play of Adamant Will on the lifelinker and Pegasus Courser. And now, Blessed Light. We could go Pegasus Courser, Adamant Will on Pegasus Courser to bounce off Serra Angel, and then take 6, and have. But then we're still in a tough spot. So, yeah, we need to light the 6/6. Okay. Oh, I should have put a stop. I wanted to do the Blessed Light before they drew a card. I thought I was going to have a chance when the demon trigger resolved, but I was not given that chance. We'll let him attack now. I'm going to do this now to see if they have a response. I don't think there's a response they could have besides somehow protecting it from white. I don't even know if that exists in the set. Now we'll trade for Rat and have the tools to survive. Woof. Another card I would never be happy playing in this format, but I have been reduced to it before. I've played this card before, but... Alright, what can we do with that? Got to get the Courser out here. Can use Baird, actually, as a potential discard for the Sanctum Spirit. Yeah, sorry, let me think through my whole turn. I'm just at 0 hourglasses and getting nervous. If we attack, though, they just block with Sentinel, and then we're forced to will, or... You want to trade Sanctum Spirit? I feel like Sanctum Spirit has value. And if we're going to trade, why not just keep it on back on D? I guess... Oh. There we go. All right, I'll attack. I know it. They... Oh, if they want to block Sarah Angel, that's even better. I didn't figure they would. All right. Thank you, Oppo. Much appreciated. Well, they both have indestructible, so we get the life link, and we can just let that happen. And then play Baird. Or play Courser. I guess we play Courser. Still blocks down below. But if we play Courser, we can attack back with the Spirit next turn and Adamant Will. You like Baird? I feel like Courser sets up a possible attack back. Chat seems to want Baird. I'm out of hourglasses. I'll just go with chat. But I kind of like the Courser play to threaten attacking Sanctum Spirit next turn with Adamant Will. They could, but they've shown that they might not before, and we may be in a spot at 8 life where we can find a way to get lethal depending on how they block Baird or whatever. Now I feel like we stay back, though. We can even take one shot from the Angel. If we attack with Spirit, what happens? Attack with Spirit, we have the Adamant Will. Maybe they make that block again, but now they have easy Drudge Sentinel block, so they just easy block Drudge Sentinel. So we really don't have... And they can even... Actually, they have an even easier block here. Sack to Soothsayer, don't even get lifelink. So, yeah, it's not even about Sentinel mana. It's actually about Soothsayer mana to me, because they can just... they can deny us our lifelink, so we're going to stay back. Baird can go. I suppose I could have done Baird, and then maybe they block with Sarah Angel. I just figured they would block with Sentinel Pay and there would be no point. But I guess that at least denies them. Yeah, they even it would deny them card draw. So it was probably worth it just to make them spend mana. But that was my thinking. That there was no good attack for Baird anyway. Yeah, and I don't want. Well, we want to save Adamant Will to take out Sarah. So we actually don't mind if they blocked Baird with Sarah. Interesting attack with the Confessor. Suggestive of another trick. If they have one, the trouble, our big problem is that it's tough for us to deal with Sarah Angel after we lose this Adamant Will. But it's a forced block. We're not blocking Sarah, so we have to block Confessor at 5. Great. It was kind of a bluff. We didn't need to use a will. So we have a chance here. Still need a lot of help. Maybe if we get even that stupid dub off the top on the Courser plus Adamant Will would give us an answer to the Angel. So we have ourselves some answers. And we even have one more turn because we get Adamant Will, the Sanctum Spirit, to get back above Lethal Sarah. But yikes, it's a tough, close one here. Hey, Colin, thank you so much for the sub. 10-month resub. Hey, there's one of our answers. Let's see if they've got an answer. We even have Adamant Will, though, so hopefully this is good. And do I attack Sanctum Spirit? They're out of... Man, I could still attack with Sanctum Spirit. If they block, we get to Adamant Will them. Let's just go Lyra, hold up Adamant Will. Yeah! I even scooped to it. Wow. Well, I told you we were going to win some off Lyra. And there you go. Lyra wins like don't even count. Except they do, of course. That's why we drafted her. That's why we're playing white. Because Lyra's supposed to bail us out a bunch. Yeah, it was a bad scoop. They had... unless that was their last removal spell, I don't see how they just give up there. See you, Banana. Thanks. You're actually doing a what if that were Slimefoot instead, as though the rest of the deck would be identical? That's pretty bold, Odd No. A little sly on, a little short on mana here, but with Lyra already in hand, we're gonna keep. If they know they're out of outs, I suppose. But Robert, I doubt they're out of outs. I bet you if we look through their deck, we could come up with a sequence where they beat the Lyra there. They might. Everybody's like, they knew they didn't have an answer. That is so kind of you. That is so kind of you to assume that an early scooper was like, well, I poured through my deck list, considered all possibilities, and decided there was no way for me to win this game, and so I scooped. Nah. They were just like, dang it, I couldn't kill it. Lyra. Right? That's more likely that that's what it was. More likely. Obviously, I don't know for sure. Skitters is a great draw. We now get Baird for sure on 4, and we're 1 mana away from Lyra on 5. Yeah, they were off it, which is fine. You know, play to your happiness too, right? If they're like not even happy to try and fight Lyra. It's understandable. Torment. I find this to be pretty bad. I've only lost to it a couple of times, but sometimes it makes a huge nightmare and it's enough. But normally you just have enough to chump or whatever to do to survive that. We'll see. Like, if we can get Feral out, then we have an answer to any sized thingamajog here. Is there a better common than Skitters? Skittles is pretty great. If you know your colors, there is. If you don't know your colors yet, probably not. We'll get more white here, I think. More likely to want a 2-spell with a bunch of white. Well, accelerating Torment out is pretty big game. Like, one of the ways you make this card not good is to... oh, well, there you go. Now we have the exile on it. I mean, that, you know, that's the thing. It ultimately dies to removal, right? And we can drop Baird here, get Ben out. I'll remember now. Honor Guard then can attack in. That's a fine trade for us. They're going for that so they can get a maximum sized token. It doesn't attack right away, costs them half their life, and we're 1 land away from just dealing with it. 2 lands away from dealing with it in another way. All right, we found our land. Traxos is super scary, but not as scary as an 11-11. 11-11 versus a 7-7 trample is actually a pretty close comparison. However, I think we can race Traxos in the air with Lyra. We can't even race a Nightmare Horror here. But we could get started. They seem to be stuck on mana now. I kind of like Lyra here, chump 11-11 with Skitters. And actually, for one thing, see if they untap Traxos. It could affect things somewhat. Although if they untap Traxos, I think we want Lyra plus Gideon's Reproach to first strike it. So I'm going to do that. And if, you know, if they kill the Skitters, we have to decide whether we want to, like, give up Baird or something. Yeah, totally, right? Baird is actually doing some work here. Baird is one of the more unimpressive, uncommon legends that the set produced, but it's doing some work here. Mama wants Holly in her prime spot. Holly, where'd you go? Holly's off screen. I can't believe you let this happen for so long, Mama. Ooh, Soul Salvage is nice as well. They're playing green, black, red. Nothing really can stop Blessed Light from green, black, red that I can think of. So I'm going to go ahead and let them move to attackers. Maybe they'll do something to try and augment these. Maybe they'll... Oh, a play that I lost to this weekend. Oppo had Traxos tap down all game, and I was doing fine. Then they drew the... you'll have to help me come up with the name, but it's a 3 and a white... uncommon legendary enchantment that gives it flying, vigilance, and lifelink, and makes it a yeah, that worked out well for Oppo. So if they do something like that, we have a different Blessed Light target. But really, they're at 4 with us with a Lyra, so we just want to wait and protect the Lyra win. Sarah's Wings, on Sarah's Wings, thank you. Yeah, Lyra doesn't even have vigilance. Have you seen Sarah, Lyra? good argument for actually just taking this. They could come up with a spider here. They just give up. All right. Lyra is 2-0. Our deck is 0-0. Yeah, Chainer's Torment is so swingy. We found an answer and made it look bad. But even there, even if we didn't, that was a spot where even if we didn't find one of our answers to kill it, we still would have won that game. I did a little rant on that. If you go to my YouTube videos, one of my recent YouTube uploads is speaking to that subject entirely. Silo, where I'm not clear, Silo says, here, let me do this for a sec. So Silo says, have you seen the 11 to 15 lands thing? Any thoughts? I gave some thoughts via Soapbox last week, and you can see that on YouTube, but a brief recap because somebody gave me some additional info. There was one guy, one streamer with Ham in the name. I haven't watched him, but I guess something Ham. I'm getting mixed reports on exactly what these decks look like. The shaving off a bunch of land decks. Someone told me once that, oh yeah, they're playing like 12, 13 land, but normal curve distribution, like normal cards. And I'm like, what? How can that work? Like, I don't even know what you're trying at that point. If you're like, this is a totally normal looking curve, but only 13 lands because the starting hand selection, like that makes no sense. But then someone said, no, that's not what they're doing. They're doing hyper low curve. And if you think the way to gain, I bet that's going to be set by set if you're going to find success going to like 12 lands and topping your curve at 2 or whatever. Because here's the thing. When I play 16 land decks with normal curves, I still hit all sorts of mana screw situations that make me wonder if I'm even supposed to be at 16. So the idea of going below 16 with a normal looking curve because you're trying to game the system, I think you're self-gaming at that point and you're going to hurt yourself. If you are specifically saying we're going to draft hyper aggro, low down 1 and 2 drop dot deck and top it out at 12 and 13, I think that's going to be format dependent. So, but I think if you're trying to abuse the starting hand selection, I don't think you have as much power as you think. You still just have 40 cards and a ratio of land to spells that needs to play itself out through an entire game, not just for your opening hand. So. But so of these people, of these streamers who have tried it, have they like, I got to see the decks. Like if you showed me a deck, I could tell you what I thought of it and its mana count. But I think it's very dangerous to be trying to game something for your starting hand without considering the next 12 draws after that. Yeah, so Eldraine specific, monocolored, aggressive leaning. That makes sense to me. That's a great call out, Razor. I can't fathom doing it for a 2-color deck because, as Luis has said on LR, part of the reason you run the land count you do is not because your deck needs 17 lands out of 40 to function from a mana quantity level. It's that it needs eight or 9 copies of a given color for you to successfully run that color. So what you're saying, Razor, makes perfect sense to me, that I could totally see doing it for monocolored Eldraine aggro, but in no other context. So there you go. I shouldn't say no other context, or a similar context is how I would say that. All right, let's get back to it. if it's something that can be gamed, WotC should have their eye on it. What I say is, I question whether people are successfully gaming it. WotC has the data. People say lots of things. People who are trying to prove that the starting hand algorithm can be gamed with anecdotal data do not impress me, right? Like, if you want to track it for thousands of games and, you know, come up with something that you're doing, then I'll listen. But, like, people making anecdotal evidence claims about this kind of thing, I'm off it. Pretty easy keep. Mesa Unicorn is nice. Adamant Will threatens to pump up our life totals. One of the things about lifelink in the format, though, is if you're not in a... hold on a second. 10. I have been pinged, and I need to see something here. Smock says, can the starting hand algorithm be gamed? I don't think in the way that people think it can. No, there's a lot of people who just think that they are gaming it, and I just don't think that they even are. Do we trade Adamant Will for a Relic Runner? Given that they're playing red, I'm going to offer it because it's a nice, clean use of it. The trouble with these combat tricks is playing them into open mana is really nerve-wracking. So when I can get a clean use, one-for-one, my combat trick for their creature, I like to offer it because I know it won't be a blowout. You know, I just get... This is why Marshall is so down on combat tricks and set reviews and stuff, is that they have this inherent risk when you play them into open mana that makes it very nerve-wracking. Now we're going to telegraph. If we can attack and telegraph the trick... But since we have a nice play after, you know what? I'm not going to. I'm just gonna by not attacking now, it suggests we don't have a trick, that we were willing to trade for the Relic Runner, and that now we don't want to attack with the Unicorn because they have a 2/3, and instead we can just play Baird. We could play Sanctum Spirit, and then we have Baird as a possible discard. Actually, looks like aggro red blue, possibly red blue wizards. Baird is better on this board, but Baird is a resource for Sanctum Spirit. That's my only consideration. Do we want to keep that in mind? But we'll have Adamant Will, so I'll go ahead and play Baird here. But that was what I was thinking about mostly, is whether we wanted to give some fuel to Sanctum Spirit's indestructible clause. Nothing to do for 5 mana here, so we get to drop Memorial and then Plains next turn for Abomination. I suppose we can attack with Baird if we are willing, if we want to use this Adamant Will this turn, but I don't. I'm just going to play Memorial, play Sanctum, and pass. Next turn we can play Abomination and then have a turn where we have all of this stuff with Adamant Will, and then it seems like attacking is a much better option. But kind of feel like we're just locking down the board here to try and find Lyra again. Hey, War on Blue? War on Blue? War on Blue. I'm not sure how you want your name pronounced, but this is PC only right now, but it's on a platform that they plan to put it on to tablets and Mac. Did they announce Mac? I think they've announced that they're at least working on it, I think. Anyway. Yeah, all right. Joyrun, you say. I'm going to play the Abomination. Yeah, I felt like they'd made an announcement. And I'll say this, there are some team members who are very passionate about getting this game onto the Mac. So for those Mac users out there who want to see this on Mac, know that there are people on the team in the building who are really, it's a priority for them. Doesn't mean it's a priority for the team, but you have your advocates on the inside is what I'm saying. Skittles. Now that's a nice pitch target for Sanctum Spirit, because this is historic and it doesn't do that much for us right now. So with this, and well, they have Squee with the easy block, unfortunately, is the big problem. So like we could swing in with Sanctum Spirit, haha, we have Skitters, but they just have Squee, and Squee is like endless. And in fact, they can just chump endlessly feral, so we really don't have attacks here until we're really ready to use Adamant Will, and we're not here. So this is not great, but I don't see what attacks we have given Squee. Hey Pirate, what's up? Well, it's not a great fit for phones. It's fine for tablets, but phones it's not a great fit for it. Well, if we didn't have a way to deal with Squee before, we're in serious trouble now because the Oppo can loop Siege Gang chucking Squee. Nice combo from Oppo. Yeah, it also loops with Joyra. Sick setup from Oppo that I don't think we can beat without a... we have our one removal spell of Blessed Light. So if we find Blessed Light in, like, next turn, maybe we have a hope in this one, but hope is fading fast here, folks. Fading fast. And I'm debating thinning with the Surveyor just to get some thinning going. I don't think the Spirit matters anymore because of Squee that way. I'll play it and thin us to try and find our, our only hope is to find Blessed Light ASAP. I'm going to go ahead and take another Swamp in case we go Soul Salvage and want to recast a Feral Abomination or something. Lyra with protection would get it done, I think. For example, what like the fact, I mean, right click does some stuff. For example, I right click here and it brings that up. The lack of right click as a heavy component in the UI is definitely part of them, part of Wizards planning for tablet type interfaces or touch interfaces. Well, Ether Storm, you could go for the limited resources sunset show. I'm thinking of, so now we have to ask ourselves whether this is worth the Adamant Will. I think it is because it resets the whole thing and they have to do it all over again next turn. So I'll save. So this is a good place to learn some stuff about Dominaria. You can check out my playlists. I always forget. I think it's playlists. No, darn it. I should just put in both of those. Then no matter how I do it, it'll work. So that's a link to my YouTube playlists, and there is a Dominaria draft playlist in there. So if you want to see my past Dom drafts from this format, you can check that as well. Dub is so bad, Mabinap. We had 2 in at the very end. Were you here for deck building? We had 2, and my final cut was to put this down to 1. And my point to chat was that this deck sucked, and this was a big reason why. Although you got to admit, Dub on the squee is rough, but Dub on 7 points of death touch, a first strike death touch, is pretty good. Hey, Brian. Is it even worth doing, though? That's kind of my question. Does that help? I just overplay my hand, Brian. I mean, I just don't play around rares and sweepers all that much unless it's so locked up that like that's the way I lose. Maybe I am not doing it enough, but that's my thinking. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna lose this anyway. I'm gonna go for Big Abomination. That was the other choice. We could throw it on Sanctum Spirit as well. I'm not sure which is the better choice. But yeah, maybe putting it here allows us to attack with both. East line may be fine. I've kind of honestly I should check into this game a little more because we do have we can win if we find if we do find Lyra. But even then, Lyra loses. They have the mana to take Lyra out of the sky with Siege Gang Commander activation, so it's tough. Reproach is interesting. Baird is also an interesting place for it, making a 4/6 Vigilant first striker. But with Reproach, I'm going to go ahead and get frisky. Could even send in one of the unicorns, but only if we're willing to either let it be eaten or Reproach whatever blocks it. It's probably they just put a Scholar on it, and that's a pretty boring Reproach. Although that's probably where they put it anyway against the Sanctum Spirit. So given that, I suppose we can just send it all. Send one. And we do this, then I'm saying I'm going to Reproach whatever they block Unicorn with, basically. All right. I know. This is the thing. This is why I'm a little bit checked out of this game. It's just going to be very hard for us to win. But we'll make some memorial tokens and try. I guess if they run out of these goblin tokens, Lyra could survive because, like, they can't loop Squee enough to take out Lyra. Well, so Brian, you're protecting against possible sweepers. I think playing out your cards protects against them playing 2 blockers or whatever. Sometimes you can outplay yourself in that spot, which is what I get worried about. Like, here I am trying to basically play around rares, and in doing so, set it up so that I give them an extra draw because I'm not at the end game applying enough pressure. Yeah, 19 to 23. So apparently deck damages are way out here. Lyra, we were just talking about you. So do we play her? Play Lyra. Oppo untaps and has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana to chuck Squee and 2 goblins at her, and then can go right back to the plan of Squee loops. Yeah, we could wait. We do have, let's see, I think we have 1 more, 2 more. We have 2 more Adamant Wills, and maybe with aggressive attacking, we can get them to use up goblins. I think we are at Flunge. Like, I don't know what happens exactly, David, but I think we should just send in and hope that they put a bunch of goblins into like that they kill 2 goblins here. Then we have a legit Lyra play. It's somewhat it's like a no math attack all, because I just feel like our way out here is that they use up some goblins here and we have a safe to play Lyra. Yeah, maybe we'll find an Adamant Will off the top. That would be funny. Something playable. Here we go. Oh, I saw 1 and a white and thought it might be, but no. An Honor Guard. All right, well, we have no actions here, so... Going for that play. Come on, go for 1 more. Just sack another goblin, take out one of those unicorns. Of course, both unicorns are going to die here, so... Ay, ay, ay. If we go Lyra, they untap and kill her, but need to give up their Siege Gang to do so. So if we could play Lyra and know that to get her dead, they need to get rid of the Siege Gang. And then we do have Soul Salvage to get Lyra back. They don't? What do you mean? 5 mana, 5 toughness. But Squee's not, they have to, they don't have the mana. Yeah, I think that's correct. Now we say, okay, spend your whole turn and your Siege Gang commander to kill Lyra, or we get a swing in with Lyra. And if they do spend their whole turn killing Lyra, we have 2 Soul Salvages. Oh, wow. So now they're saying, no, we're not even going to trade for Lyra? Maybe. 5 damage. Just, that probably would explain it. If they just have 5 damage for Lyra straight up. No, it probably means, I like what others are saying. Well, I don't know. It's possible Oppo isn't thinking this through. I kind of expect Lyra to die to removal here, but, or maybe they have bounce and draw. That would be powerful. No, either they're playing bizarrely, riskily, or they just have an answer that we haven't seen yet that they're setting up. Feels like could easily be a bounce draw here. Yeah, blink of an eye, thanks. I don't remember card names, so. And oh wow, that's interesting. I think they made a mistake there. One of my favorite plays to do with Trickster when it comes to powerful flyers like Lyra let them attack, play Trickster, and then this becomes a 5/5 ground creature with no abilities. And then they could just pile on, you know, Trickster and Squee and Golem and take her down. So I'm happy that we even have her left. If we attack, they just chump with Squee, but it does make them use their mana. So I'm doing this so that they have to chump with Squee and use that mana again. I guess they were going to do it anyway. They probably just keep throwing Squee around. That's Squee's lot in life. His own personal groundhog life. Not that he's repeating things, but he sure dies a lot, right? I don't think decks matter. 20 to 13. We're not winning via deck damage. Well, I don't think we win, because I don't think we're milling him out before we lose to damage. Bared back might help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's too much to take, or we just straight lose to Siege Gang damage, so we have to block their most powerful thing here, which is 3. Maybe they have lethal anyway, but certainly we have to block their 3. Yeah, they have lethal anyway. Oh, they're not going for it, though. They're going to be a little cagier. Card flavor text. I think you can get it just, I don't know about... If you have a card you want flavor text on, I can bring it up. Urborg used to be lovely. Scenic volcanoes, respectable lich lords. Since the Cabal came with their nightmares and thralls, it's all gone to the worms. There you go. You are not alone, you never were. Well, we are alone in the loser pile in this one. 5, 6, 7. 8, 6, 5. Baird for taxing is interesting, but I still think they can... I think 2 maces is better. Two spell with lifelink. Again, this all feels like just waiting to die, but let's wait. Let's see what they can do. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we lose this swamp next. Maybe they don't go for Lyra. This is best of 1, and we are... Oh, sorry, yeah, we are 2-0 right now. Thanks, I didn't adjust that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They figured it out, folks. They figured it out. Well, that time we resolved Lyra and still lost. Boo. Gotta mulligan this. Reproach is something to do early, but we have no early action, making the will effectively a mulligan for now, and Abomination is effectively a mulligan till 6 mana, so mulligan. I'll say Oppo's deck was sweet. I think they're going to run into trouble if they find anybody with a little better interaction than we had. We're going to keep this. Ditch a will. And hope to find some action. Not a great hand when we're trying to be on the aggro side of things. Well, hopefully they try a aura or equipment on the champ and we reproach it accordingly. I'm not going to take it out yet. This is the type of thing that ends up with auras on it, and I'm going to wait till it's... Now, it could end up with an aura that makes it out of range of the reproach, but I'm going to be greedy. If that happens, we can fall back on the Blessed Light. Mesa Unicorn gives us Adamant Will and Gideon's Reproach. Again, we're in a spot where if we try to use Adamant Will on defense, we are doing it into scary looking open mana, so I'm more likely to use Reproach here. Unless they would like to clarify things with a lot of pre-combat plays. Okay, that says a lot. They don't have... But Reproach is pretty restrictive, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Well, let's see. Do we want to block? Yeah, I'm going to do it now before. If they somehow pump it, and if they pump it, then we can put in Mesa Unicorn if it still trades. If they have the +3/+3, we just let it go. Yeah, probably no tricks. But there you go. At least we did that so that we didn't get punished for blocking. So we'll decline and just take this. Another Adamant Will. Squee again. Squeeze annoying. But we got a flyer this time at least. This time I'm going to block and try for the Adamant Will. And if they have anything but bounce, we have another Adamant Will. Do I consider Squee playable? I don't consider Squee good in this format. Tends to, like, a lot of ground stalls develop in the format, and then Squee just becomes part of a big ground stall. But if I'm heavy red, I'm playing him every time, yes. And again, yeah, I don't want to trade Unicorn for Squee. That's where Squee is good. Like, takes away all these trades that you thought you had. But we're going to try and get there through the air. Make him stop this Aven Sentry. Kind of a dumb card or whatever, but it's often, if you are ending up in white, it's a fine little common that can do a surprising amount of work. Here I'm just going to offer this trade. Maybe didn't even need to do that. I don't know. I'm not thinking things through. I didn't have a reason for that. I hate making trades or not trades without a good reason. So that was just kind of arbitrary. But at least I'm honest when I don't have a good reason. Like, I don't know, whatever programming in my brain said to trade there, and I can't tell you why. I guess one reason is we do have soul salvages. If we draw a soul salvage, we want it to not be completely dead. So trading is good in a deck with 2 soul salvages. We just did this! Come on! Well, good news, everybody. All Siege Gang is going to do for Oppo, because they let the auto tap screw them, is make 3 goblin tokens. Which is pretty huge, because if they had tapped differently, they could have taken out the sentry, although we would have just adamant willed it. So, yeah, it's all not bad, but this is looking like we're going to be able to race with the sentry now. 2 swings. We go 3, and then adamant will for 5 next turn, and they're dead. Oh, maybe it is this. We did wait in the queue a while. Is this the same opponent? Maybe. Same colors. Someone check the VOD. I mean, it is bizarre. A bizarrely similar deck, if not the same opponent. Lyra failed to save. We were too far behind even for Lyra to help us against that combo. Well, Squee's not that great. As I said, if I'm red, I'm going to play him every time, but it's not like some super important thing. All right. A winner is us. Thrilled to be at 3 wins with the deck. Do not love it. Echo asks a very broad question. How do you approach new set analysis for Limited? I do it in 2 key ways. 1, analogs. When you're looking at a card, you want to look backwards and say, what is this card like? What is it similar to? What have we seen before with this card? And what does that inform us about what we can expect out of this new version of that card? And then the other thing to do is to ask yourself, this is kind of a similar 2 questions that get to the same heart of the matter with new cards. What would this card's job be in a deck? And when would that be something I really want? When is this card good? Let's think about when this card would be good and when this card would be bad in actual game situations. And basically use those 3 things. What does this look like from the past? When would this card be good and when would it be bad? And what is this inherent card's job? And that's a great way to think about cards you're being exposed to for the first time. What conditions would have to be present for this card to be good? That kind of thought. Good keep here. We've got Memorial on 1, Benalish on 2, Lance on 3, Equip on 4, even if nothing else happens. Honestly, equipped Lance is not really what you want to be doing turns 3 and 4, but when you got nothing else, you know, take what comes. Hey Mobius, what's up, man? Just watching streams today? Are you not streaming? What's up? And are you not? Wait a second. Let's see. Oh, wait, you are. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. There you go. Sorry, Oppo, not trying to waste your time. Just got a little distracted. We could Memorial to do something, but then we put ourselves a turn back on Abomination, so we're just going to sadly do... We're flooding out a bit here for this deck especially. Oppo out of land and just gave it up. Okay. Do I offer coaching? I do not offer coaching currently. Robert was suggesting that as something I could consider. It's in the back burner of my mind as something to think about, but it's something I'd have to work out exactly what I would do and how to do it. You know, it's on my think about list, but I wouldn't say to expect Flyers offering my coaching anytime immediately. Well, if Prehensile was watching a very bad streamer, I could not have been Ben S. I think Ben is a very great streamer. All right, again, nothing super early, but we're not going to pass Lyra. We're not going to... We got 4, Avon on 4 and Lyra on 5 with any land, so keeping. Yeah, Mobius, people have been asking me about this hyper low land count deck thing, and I haven't, but nobody has shown me any deck of anybody actually doing it. And my presumption is that it was, yeah, basically Eldraine only, mono aggro, and with a curve that tops it 2 with maybe a handful of 3s or something. Amazing. We've drawn twice, but have neither found our land for Lyra or something to do before turn 4. Mesa Unicorn, you are so freaking late. Just beyond late. To your expense. Yeah, it does not seem like the strategy for Dominaria. But Eldraine seems weirdly and perfectly positioned to try such a thing. Do you have any, Mobius, do you have any deck images, easy link that you could share? I mean, if you don't worry about it, but like... Of course, we can't find 5th land for Lyra on time, but not even sure I'd run Lyra out anyway. Probably do Windgrace if we'd found a swamp. We can go Mesa Unicorn, Lance, give him a turn with the Courser Cyclops and just attack with the Sentry, or we can Mesa Unicorn hold up Adamant Will, and although if we keep Sentry back, they're probably not going to send in because they don't want to trade off the Courser. So I'm just going to go Mesa Unicorn, Lance, and actually just not attack with the Sentry and try to threaten this Courser. If they attack with the Courser, we know they have some sort of trick or something, and we'll take that into account and not do any blocks till we have Adamant Will available to us. Lance on Lance. Okay, so now we're gonna have to. That's okay. We'll use the. Let's see. If we draw a land, I might get a little tricky. Really want to take out that Courser. Although if we get Lyra, it just kind of doesn't make none of that matters anyway. Maybe we just play out our Lyra and shut up. I guess we start there. We have Soul Salvage too, so let's see if they can kill Lyra. Ask them the Lyra question with Soul Salvage and Adamant Will ready to come. Well, Soul Salvage not ready, but eventual Soul Salvage. Find our swamp. We have 4 swamps and a Skittles here, which is our 5-source Black Splash. Or Lance on Lyra. 7 points of first strike is pretty hard to deal with, but maybe 5 points of first strike and 4 points of different first strike also worthwhile. We'll see. I guess they both depends on what they do for defense, right? Of course, we're getting all of our black cards, but yeah, we get to now equip the Mesa and have Adamant Will. And into this open mana, I'm not going to attack with a Sentry because I don't want to have to I don't want to have to act first in this open mana. So I'm going to send in Lyra and the Mesa Unicorn so that if they have anything to deal with this attack, they have to act first and we can respond with Adamant Will. So what does this mean it is? Is this a charge? What does charge do, though? That's a reasonable thing. I could just be happy to trade Sentry for Courser in that spot. Maybe I should have attacked with it. Huh, so they don't have charge, or at least don't need it yet? Well, we're gonna do this. All right, double will is what was going on. It's all right, we can take that. We got 26. We can throw the Lance on Sentry and have a bunch of first strike in the air. And we race their 7 quite handily. Just had to worry about this final card. Consider where we'd be at with this deck right now if it did not have Lyra in it. I mean, even replace Lyra with like a Sarah Angel, something super solid, and this deck looks mighty sketchy. But Lyra has been a beast and has marched us to 5 wins. I think we got 1 non-Lyra win, 4 Lyra wins, and 1 Lyra loss. Who had 7 on the par poll? Raise your hand. You can't have had 7 on the par poll. I capped it at 6. Okay, this looks great. We have Honor Guard on 2, Surveyor on 3, Find Our Swamp, Sentry on 4, find maybe something to do on 5, and then probably have Abomination on 6 even. So this is a high likelihood to draw into a solid curve out here. Oppo goes first. Maybe we'll draw our tap land and have the perfect curve out. Hey, Radar. Did you hide from the world for a bit? Nice. And a very mellow holidays overall too. That was very nice from that. I was talking about how I'm really not a Christian, but I celebrate Christian holidays from my own heritage and childhood, etc. And man, when I was growing up, I was like 20, 21, 22 in that range. I remember my Christmas list. I had there would be like 20 to 30 people on my 22-year-old shopping list that I felt like I had to get something for Christmas. Had to get them something for Christmas. It was oppressive. And it felt so token and so like, all right, I'm going to spend 20 to 30 bucks on every it was hard. Now I'm just in a world where all the adults in my life have stopped worrying about gift giving with each other on the holidays, and it's made it all so much easier. Slimefoot's going to make this much harder. Yeah, we take care of the kids now, but no more adult peer gift giving has changed Christmas for me for the better. I guess we just Skittles. We can dub, but that doesn't make any sense. We're gonna Skittles. Yeah, I like making things. And yeah, when I do give gifts, even to the younger set, I try to give experiences and consumables. I guess I'll go ahead and get another swamp, because later on we may want to cast Soul Salvage in a black creature on the same turn. We only have like one black creature, but it's possible. Jikerman Parpold 6 is like, called it. Yeah, you can have that. Spice is nice. Interesting. I like it. So it looks like maybe they're just going for a Slimefoot activation here. We're going to go for Even Sentry. Although we could... I doubt they block with Slimefoot. Should we put him to a test? I'm going to go for a bluff here. Here comes the bluff. You ready? I believe they can't risk Slimefoot, and I don't think they will. Wow, snapped it off! Oppo's a hero. Are you serious, Oppo? Well, they might have something. If they have something of their own, then this is a really bad bluff. Yeah, I thought they would use. I thought this open mana was intended to use on the creating a 1/1. It's all the reason why it was a reasonable bluff too. Is this Honor Guard's not going to do anything against what's going on in the ground? Yeah, I should have moused my cards, right? Maybe they were looking for that. When you're aggro against something like Slimefoot, the damage is always relevant. Yeah. But the downside of getting called on that bluff is pretty small. Certainly is part of it, Jikerman. I have not seen too many decks in our gauntlet here that I'm like, oh, that was a great deck. Mostly it's been decks that are like, oh, that deck's as bad as mine. And then we have Lyra. Trying to make it all easy breezy. Here, though, we don't have the... okay, we don't want to get Lyra Skin Witched out of our hand, so that's a consideration. But we can go... I think we could be sad. If we play Lyra and she gets killed, y'all are going to be sad. And we have Blessed Light taking out Slimefoot, I think, is a very reasonable play. But if they spend 4 of their mana over the next turn on Slimefoot, that's probably good for us anyway. All right, chat wants Lyra. I'm going to throw Lyra out there. She's going to get destroyed right now, and then we'll be sad together. Oh, way above that. Like every game, Robert. Every game but one, we've had Lyra at some point. Compare that to like that War of the Spark draft we had where we drafted Ugin and literally never even saw him in our hand. With Blessed Light at the ready, we're just going to charge in here. I'm going to go Lyra only. I don't like all this open mana. That event was sad, Shiker. That deck deserved better. The old double dragon. Well played. Well, good sign when you're connecting with Lyra, of course. We're gonna end turn and Blessed Light Slimefoot in response. Unity going to look for some help. That's a great sign for us. If that's their play this turn, it's no big deal. All of this stuff on the ground doesn't matter. I could chump here, but I don't even see why we need to chump right now. And if Oppo's gonna attack with a spider, like I was gonna dub up the sentry so the spider could attack, but let's just send in au natural. Yeah, I don't know. The spider was keeping back the sentry. That seemed like quite a bold attack. And here, I'm gonna go with Big Death Toucher. This is like my poster child for mid-range 4-drops have no home. Like in the abstract, this card seems like it could do some stuff. Like Stronghold Confessor in a set that loved 1-drops or something where, you know, this could be something, but it's like in this set it just doesn't have a good job. So now let's see, 4, 5. We can't get all of this, so let's see, can we get 6 power in the air on both sides? No, but we can go ahead and dub. Ugh. Actually, instead of dub, I'm just gonna Jousting Lance on Sentry. Antithesis asks a great question. Why the priority on removing Slimefoot when you're not attacking on the ground? You may be right, and maybe what I should have done there is save the removal I used on Slimefoot for... this just seems like a desperation attack, but whatever. That really just protect the Lyra game plan. It may have been smarter there. I think I respect Slimefoot so much that I just instinctively was like, gotta kill that awful, annoying Slimefoot. But I think you may be right that I didn't really help my win percentage using my removal on something that wasn't doing anything to stop my primary game plan. No, I think think there's a pretty good chunk of there's actually a lot of removal in Dom. It's not quite as good as like the removal in War of the Spark or something, but I think there's pretty good removal in Dom. Classically, especially in black. Well, as I said, if this deck does well, let's ask ourselves why. And honestly, the answer's been Lyra, so I don't feel like I've disproven anything. If anything more, I've proven. No, not always. That's the thing. I operate on a certain level of autopilot ante that can get me into trouble. I think a certain level of autopilot is necessary to stream, but I make play mistakes all the time, and what I love about streaming is that with the real-time feedback, I get feedback on my game. Because even if you think I'm better than you overall, and maybe I am, on any given play, you may see something I don't, you know? Oh, we'll go with Unicorn first here. Well, you ask what it'll take to get me into white. First pick Lyras are up there. Hopefully this Courser resolves. I think they don't have a Syncopate or they would have used it on the Unicorn. Oh, did I just play you? Which, Oh, good game. Sorry, I didn't realize that you were good gaming me. Good game, good game. Yeah, there was some debate in chat. I kind of like holding, like, we had not played anything kind of like worthy of removal before Lyra, and so I was thinking of baiting out any of your black removal with some non-Lyra plays, but chat wanted to just get going with Lyra, so I did so. I shouldn't have played this pre-combat. I'm just, again, talking and playing and not being optimal about things. I'm going to go with third Plains or second Swamp. I'm going to go with second Swamp since we have the Soul Salvage. Yeah, that's exactly what I was afraid of. Like, I wanted to give you something else to settle. A different score to settle, so to speak. Hey, look, everybody. It's the reason we're 6-1. Easy game when you draw Lyra on their nearly empty hand with a full grip, and yeah. And now we're going to try and get him with Adamant Will. Kind of telegraphing it with the Surveyor attack, but what else are we going to do here? There was one game we didn't see Lyra, and we managed to win it anyway. And there's one game where we had Lyra and managed to lose anyway. It's funny that our hand is basically unplayable right now, except for the one Adamant Will. Maybe we'll win this one without Lyra, too. Can't get 3, so we don't have a win to go for right now. Let's send. Oh, really? We were really impressed with your calling of that bluff. I'm like, wow, there's no way I block with Slimefoot. Good job, Oppo. You know, Exile doesn't stop. And see, there we go. That's why I like holding off on stuff like Lyra for as long as possible, because you get Lyra exiled, you don't even get to soul salvage her back. And I was even going to say, on this turn, I'm playing Windgrace, not Lyra. There's just no, like, we don't need Lyra. Although with that play, now maybe we kind of do. Now we'll go with Lyra for the, well, Windgrace plus Banalish puts lethal out. All right, we're going to go. We should be fine, because Lyra's lethal on her own, and Adamant Will plus the other two is also lethal, so even if they exile Lyra. Well, lessons learned. Lessons relearned. Lyra is an insane bomb. That's the lesson relearned here. I don't think we actually got any extra info out of this other than that Lyra is great, and I think you could see in each of those games how the deck could have struggled pretty mightily without dropping a bomb like Lyra down. But let's claim this prize. Standard shakeup, all done. I think I have a Dominaria draft going on one of my side accounts that we can keep playing on here. So we're not going to start a new draft, but we'll keep playing. Nearly mono white. The black never did too much, but there was black in there, so, you know. But yeah, that was good. I'll jump to my soapbox view so that I can say thank you, YouTube viewers, for hanging out. That was fun. Lyra is a powerful card. I still don't recommend going heavily into white unless you get a good reason like Lyra. I'm going to go play one of my other decks now, which is almost certainly some kind of Sultai. So, see you, YouTube.